Okay, you should be able to hear me now. Let me know in the chat. Can you hear me?
Be able to hear me. Let me know in the chat.
Yep, okay, good. Just some technical issues there. Okay, so Magica has stolen the Lucky Dimes and Huey, Dewey and Louie. And what's going to happen is Donald is going to do the Sigma grind all around the world to rescue both Huey, Dewey, Louie and the Lucky Dimes. Mickey Mouse is lazy, he plays in his dreams, Donald actually does some work. So, one of my childhood favourite games, a super popular game in Europe, the Lucky Dime Caper on the Master System. And the world record for this game has changed recently from 1521 down to 1520 because me and Corbett are having a battle over it. We'll do an 80% run for you today. One of the nice things about this game, you can play the levels in any order you like. I'm going to start up top here, Corbett starts down here. Are we ready, chat? Let's begin in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, quack quack. So, what's good about this speedrun? Well, unlike Mickey, Donald actually has a proper weapon instead of using his arse. And I'm doing a lot of jumping straight from the beginning. Now, that's unusual, but the effect of that is that it's faster than walking on the ground. There's going to be various points that comes in useful, but it does make this quite a precarious speedrun because if you mistime a jump, all sorts of bad things can happen. And unlike in the Mickey Mouse games, you don't have hit points. If you lose your hammer, you're at risk of dying, so we don't want that. You can pick up a frisbee weapon, but the frisbee is basically useless and an impediment, so we want to avoid that. On to the first boss here already is a honey bear. Do a little bit of movement here, and I am going to jump up here, or not, make a mistake, that's okay. Marathon luck. And what was meant to happen there is I was going to duck on the end of a ledge, and that would do a little graphical effect. We'll see in the next stage, that's okay. One nephew has been rescued, and the nice thing about this level, this game, you've got time between each level, sort of plan ahead and think how you're doing. I want you to notice Louie is blinking, but then when he talks, he will stop blinking. This makes no sense. Now everyone hates water levels. Good news, we can skip the water. Let me concentrate here. So the effect of the jumping is that my exposition is being pushed very slightly forward, which means I can shenanigans off the bird there. I can also walk off these ledges and disprove Galileo's gravity theory by getting down to the bottom ahead of that boulder. I am then going to clip up the top because Donald, despite being a duck, doesn't want to go in the water. Yet again, this makes no sense. It does save half a second to go in the water, but I don't want to do that because it's risky. I'm going to do a little bit more bird manipulation if I'm careful here by the right type of jumping, which is going to enable me not to slow down at all. There we go. Boss number 2 is going to be a lion. Hammer does double damage, it's important to keep hold of that. And again, we're going to try the ledge glitch here. There we go. The effect of that is that the screen is not going to go back to the centre. What's going to happen then is that the text is going to wrap slightly on the credit screen. Lol. If you think that's all there is in this game, no, there's plenty more to come. This is a really cool speedrun. It's like, casually this is a difficult game. As a speedrun it is risky, but it's a really interesting game. Off to rescue Huey. Down to South America, the Incan stage, one of my favourites. And we're going to see the old exposition stuff again soon. But first we've got some pig monsters and statues to get rid of. And between each series of platforms you can do a set number of jumps of different heights and still get there with the right sort of positioning. We've got a little auto-scroller section coming up. Those of you who know me know spatial awareness is not my friend. And a year ago, when I was grinding the world record back for this game, I struggled here and I was jumping over these rocks too early. Thankfully, since then, I've got past that. Also notice Donald will only blink when he's ducking. This makes no sense. Once the auto-scroll section is complete, I'm going to do a well-timed jump, which is again going to boost me forward. We all love a bit of boosting here at the SegaCrew. We're going to destroy a wall of faces, and I'm going to go back to the centre of the screen because I am, as we say in English, a coward. You can go from the right-hand side of the screen, but it's slightly easier to go in the centre. What I'm doing now is going to do a mistake and die and try that again, because marathon luck. This entire game can be stressful. That's okay, today is a good day to die. That is not what I intended to do. This has not been going well all morning. That's okay. So the problem with this game is when you lose your hammer, you are sort of in trouble because you don't have a weapon. And you can't easily get your hammer back without having to try and kill enemies. That's okay. It's just a game. You get infinite lives. We'll do it again. No, Donald, don't duck. Okay, so what's meant to happen here is that I'm going to be showing the effects of the X position changing slightly by getting some blocks here in the auto-scroller section to chase me. That is not what I meant to do. Oh dear. Okay, it's backup time. Let's just dodge those blocks completely. There's the frisbee, we don't want that. What was meant to happen is that I would get those blocks behind me to follow me here, and then I would be able to despawn some of those faces in the wall. This is what happens when we do it live, people. It's risky. Okay, so now I'm going to have to try and get my hammer back. And the item drops in this game are not set, so sometimes you can be on the wrong path for ages. So it's a good job I took a death. Tactical death. It's all good. Do a little bit of moving around. You can see how floaty Donald is in the air there. And the really cool thing about this game is everyone's contributed to the tech. So Rasmus, one of the elders of the Master System, managed to come up with the block clips inside that we didn't get to show off there. Corbett has come up with a block skip in Egypt. I did a lot of work on the Tropical Islands level, which we'll be seeing later on. And SegaCrew did some work on the final stage to do a couple of spear skips in the castle. On to another boss with some statues here. Let's wait. And then hit. That is not what I meant to do. Oh, good lord. This is not going according to plan. We're just going to wait this out and try and jump on top of the statue. That was not what I meant to do either. Well, we're not going to be too far ahead after this run at least. That's an advantage. Donald seems happy enough. No, I tell you what, let's just die and start again. Weird game over. Marathon luck at its finest. That's okay. We get to hear the nice music again. Sounds like an ink and ice cream van of some sort. This game can show anyone up. I did it a few weeks ago for RGL for a relay and managed to do really well. Today it's not cooperating, but that's okay. What's important is just to remember that this is a very volatile game, and because of the lack of health points, you have to accept the risks that are involved with it. You know? I mean, I was a very goody-goody kid, but when I was a kid and I had this game drove me to swearing, which tells you just how difficult it is. And it's one of the few games that Mr. Corbett does not have the world record in. So, some of us can at least fight the tide of him having total dominance on the Master System. Good lord. SegaCrew Blooper Reel, Volume 6. That's amazing. I've destroyed the statue and it's still hitting me. Hitboxes, how do they work? This is incredible. I was due a bad marathon run sometime eventually in my life. I've never had one before. Okay. And this is why I've got some cider coming in my grocery deliveries this evening. Let's try and get the hammer back. There we go. Okay, I'm going to shut up for a moment and try and finish one section correctly. Okay, so you can see the blocks are dancing and dancing. And they're going to despawn the wall in front of me. Now I can stay on the right hand side. And I know where the enemies are, and I've got certain setups that I am meant to do. It can't get any worse. It's almost relaxing to fail like that. Jump under here. You might also notice Donald is wearing a naval uniform. And this obviously makes no sense because Donald is not a sailor, he's an aeroplane combat veteran. But did you know that in World War II, Donald was officially given the promotion to E5 Sergeant by the Army? So he's an Army veteran, but he's got a naval uniform on. This makes no sense. And if you can find 5 things that make sense about this run, send them to PO Box 69420, care of SegaCrew. Let's try the boss again. A lot of the time when I've taken damage here, it's because I've been reacting early. And it's not something that you can generally control. Like, I'm very strange as a speedrunner because I tend to react too early rather than too late. Anyways, that's 1/3 of the game through. We've got a cutscene now. And Huey, Dewey and Louie are going to explain to us that they don't know where the dimes are, so we're going to have to travel around the world again to find them. That's okay, fuel is cheap. Magica and the Crows are very happy, and we've got a lot of problems coming up in this run still, because Antarctica is going to be full of wind, and there's a big jump you can't get across unless the wind cooperates. Now, knowing what's happened in this run so far, I'll get it first try. Alternatively, I might have to try the Jesus jump, which is something brand new, which I've come up with recently to try and cut the cycles of wind down. Who knows? Donald is of course eager for his reward. He is also going to be eager for therapy after what I'm putting through in this game. Let's go to Antarctica and see what happens. One bad wind, that's okay. And just see how far we're being pushed back. A forward wind is good, we've got a chance to get the jump. Get past the swordfish. Bad wind, let's try the Jesus jump, why not? That is not what was meant to happen. Donald is happy and has no pants on. Absolutely. It's another continue. Now we've got forward wind. There's no manipulation that we found for this. 2 forwards, that's alright. You can lose 5, 10, 15 seconds with the wind. There, it is exactly what I was talking about. This big gap here. You can't jump it unless wind is neutral or positive. The record for waiting here is 11 cycles. I don't think I'm going to break that today. That said, 3 is not exactly brilliant luck. Dirt luck. 4. Are we about to make history, people? No. We can actually carry on with the game. Thank you. So we're going to go inside, and hopefully I'm going to go to the right-hand side of the screen and get past everything first try. That platform that I just stood on, when it disappears, is a marker for when the next one appears. Get past the ice wall. Jump over the snowman. Again, when that disappears, jump. Do a few jumps here. And then the first crow boss is going to follow me across the screen depending on where I move, so I've got setups for that. There we go. Donald is freezing his arse off. But he's going to go to the tropical islands now. A decent level at last. And this goal was indeed in the Master 8 race number 2. That's where Corbin Sacred picked it up. A very popular game. Personally, I feel like this one is slightly harder than Castle or Legend of Illusion or Land. we're going to go to Hawaii now, and this is the deepest and most complicated level, so I might go quiet sometimes. Got specific setups for all these fires here. I'm also going to try and duck under some volcano flames, because I don't want to burn Donald to a crisp. Turn backwards. No fires at Pompeii for Donald. Inside, I'm going to try and skip a cycle on the fire by ducking down here, which is appropriate because Donald is a duck and he is legally required to duck. But ducking down there as opposed to just walking off makes it about 3 times more likely that you'll get that trick, and gives you a slight safety margin in case you mess it up, like that. Don't know what happened there. There's the hammer. So sometimes you can go ages without the hammer in this game, and it makes it quite exciting as a speedrun. Do 2 hammers there as a safety. Indeed, the last couple of world records have both taken damage at the back end of Egypt and been very, very tense, because they've been trying to get it back before the end. We've got some vertical climbing here, and you can see the floatiness of the physics. Just how scary it can be. And then we've got some ice coming up, where I've got to try and jump over without falling into the lava. Oh! Commentator's curse. Sweaty Donald. Another trick coming up now. We've got an entire semi-auto scroller full of ice blocks. You're meant to wait in a pattern here. I'm just going to clip into the wall here instead and duck down, and I'm safe for a couple of minutes. So how you doing, chat? Have you got some alcoholic drinks out yet to cope with this disaster run? And for those of you who are interested, I am also the custodian of the Sega Master System Project Speedrun list. At the moment, this game has only got like 14-15 runners, but if you want to do a speedrun of this, you would be able to boost the points on the leaderboard for it. This is one of the most popular of the Master System speedruns, but we don't have too many people doing Master System speedruns yet. There are hundreds of people who have only done 1, and there are still only about 20 people who've run 8 or more games. So get out there and find the library and see what suits for you. There's more games on show this weekend. You might find something you love. This game sometimes will just behave and sometimes it won't. And it's one of those things you can't legislate for as much. So psychologically it's difficult because you're often tense in these moments where you're waiting for action. Ordinarily I would go through the second part of this stage. I'm just going to die and then show you something special by getting my hammer back instead though. So what we can do here is walk to the edge of the ledge. Oh lord. Let's try that again. Beat all the Master System games. I don't think so, not on my strength of performance today. Okay, let's try that again. There we go. We can just flip up to the ceiling. Donald is going to hide his shame. So you can do that still and get world record because there's like 10-15 seconds to save. It's also nice for marathon safety, which is the most ironic thing I could say. Next boss is a crow with a Hawaiian shirt on. This makes no sense. He's going to move away every time. Usually I would be able to trick him and keep him on the left side. Timer turned red. The red timer is completely appropriate. I have botched this quite badly so far. However, every good game needs a good Egypt level. We've got Egypt coming up now, and this is always the tense part of the run, because when you actually play this game well, this is a really scary stage. We've got scarab beetles, we've got quicksand that can drag you in and mess your exposition up, bats that come from the sky, and the bats will come down depending on where you are on screen, so you've got to know what you're doing with that and not get hit. We've also got the Corbett block skip coming up. Corbett found this way to get through a cycle of blocks. Saves a few seconds. I will of course try that because now I've got nothing to lose. We've got some falling blocks here we can get under. The next set are going to be slightly harder. Let's see if we can do one trick well. actually did it. So that saves a few seconds, go into the door. There's a few frames margin where you've got to jump across the quicksand without it dragging you under. So there's a lot of rhythm to this game. And now I've got another chill moment, because I can go into here. And we've got some falling blocks. So psychologically you often get tense here because you're thinking about the final part of the game, what tricks you want to do. But it's really cool because you can mix and match whatever you want and add in as much as you like. Play it risky, play it safe. There's two block patterns. We've got the slightly slower block pattern. Donald's going to have a little bit of a dance here. It's only a second or two lost. You do have to be careful not to get trapped in here as well, because you can jump into it and get soft locked. You've got to be careful jumping across here because we've got mummies that will spawn. The next room after this is also scary because there's no manipulation for it. You can often take damage without doing anything wrong, as if I need any help taking damage. There's snakes underneath, and the boss in this area is a giant snake charmer, but you've also got to be careful there because the snake can come in a bad position, position number 2, and you will end up having a phantom sprite on the right hand side to avoid. Let's see what we get. Yep, he's in position 2. I've got to wait it out. If you try and jump over here, there'll be a second flame that attacks you and it's sort of a glitch. But hey, we actually did a level pretty well. This isn't so bad at all. Now, anything Super Mario Bros. Can do, the Disney Illusion games can do just as well. So, what do you think of when you think of Super Mario? I would say you think of wrong warps. I fancy wrong warping the next half of the second stage, because the castle level here is quite difficult. And obviously I'm not doing such a great job here, so I don't want to die. So let's just skip half of this final stage, why not? It's also nice to see some skeletons getting jobs for skeletons. So jump up here, boing, skip half the entire stage, jobs are good, kill the ghosties. These ghosties are on a timer, so they'll change position randomly. That used to be a problem in world record runs. Let's try a spear cycle skip. These two knights here, I'm going to try and disconnect them, and then I've got a visual cue for when to move forward. Yep. Nope. Failed that. We've got a wrong warp here, because there's only one exit. Didn't get it. Do it again. I got a nice defensive estimate on this, it's okay. So each of these jumps saves roughly 7 frames, they do add up. And it's just a question of sometimes you can't get the timing right. Or because you're used to timing it with the music, in my case. But it's just a game. I'd rather be doing this than slogging my heart out in work. And did you know that there is also a Game Gear port of this game, but again, similar to Super Mario Bros., it's kind of different, because it's exactly the same structures, but the levels are all completely different. Now, let's try the SegaCrew spear cycle skip. There we go. Get through in 1. That's the most recent addition to the world record. We're in the final room now. So we're coming up to time. He said, losing his hammer again. Let me see if I can grab it back. Yep. Okay, and we've got Magic as dime. 1, 2, 3, time. Magica's gonna cry her eyes out because she's not gonna get rich after all. 23 minutes. Yeah, that's not good. But today was a good day to die. And now we can see what Donald's reward is going to be. Because thanks to Donald, the boys have been rescued. Scrooge has his lucky dime back. So Donald's flown all around the world twice. What's his reward going to be? Bless me bagpipes, of course, your special reward. It's a lucky dime for him too. And now Donald feels just as crap as I do. Thank you so much for watching, and let's keep up the illusion block because now we've got Arnold and Sheem racing Land of Illusion. I will see you all again tomorrow because I'll be doing a Stone Cold Classic Super Hang-On and a bit of Wonder Boy. But until then, glory to you and your dimes.